I'm delighted to hand over to Brian Nathan, who's going to run this afternoon's session of Desert Island Discs, and I'll see you soon. Thanks, Brian. Over to you.
Okay, thank you, Stuart. And welcome to everybody. It really is your afternoon and your choices that we want. And we're going to start with a choice from David and Brenda Franks. If they'd like to unmute themselves and tell us why they have chosen the piece of music, I will then play it for you.
Got to find them.
Any luck? David and Brenda, can you unmute yourself? If you can't, I have got a note of what they were saying, but it's not very much, but I'm sure they'd like to do it themselves.
Are they here?
I can't see them on the list.
No.
I don't think they're there.
If they're not there, well, I'll just say, because it's really quite short what they said. Dream Lover, which we're playing by Bobby Darin, was playing when I met my wife. Presumably this is David speaking. He said 3 weeks later we got engaged, and so far we've lasted 52 years. So this is their choice.
Every night I hope and pray a dream lover will come my way. A girl will hold in my arms and know the magic of her charms. 'Cause I want a girl to call my own. I want a dream lover so I don't have to dream alone. Dream lover, where are you? With a love oh so true, and the hand that I can hold, feel you near as I grow old. 'Cause I want a girl to call my own. I want a dream lover so I don't have to dream alone. Someday, I don't know how, I hope she'll hear my plea. Some way, I don't know how, she'll bring her love to me. Dream lover, until then, I'll go to sleep and dream again. That's the only thing to do, till all my lover's dreams come true. 'Cause I want a girl to call my own. I want a dream lover so I don't have to dream alone. Dream lover, until then I'll go to sleep and dream again. That's the only thing to do, till all my lover's dreams come true. 'Cause I want girl to call my own. I want a dream lover so I don't have to dream alone. Please don't make me dream alone. I beg you, don't make me dream alone. No, I don't wanna dream alone.
There we are. Now, a little bit about that particular song, which was written and recorded by Bobby Darin in '59. He was an American singer, songwriter, multi-instrumentalist, impressionist, and an actor. And he performed jazz, pop, rock and roll, folk, swing, and country music. He started his career as a songwriter for Connie Francis, if you remember Connie Francis. And his first million seller was called Splish Splash. I wonder if anybody here remembers Splish Splash, because somebody over here made that song his own, somebody called Charlie Drake, if you remember Charlie Drake. Anyhow, sadly, a multi-talented man, but he died at the age of 37. We're moving on to number 2 now, and I know that this person is here because it's me. Blacksmith Blues. taking advantage of my position here, this is my choice. It's a song which takes me back to my very young days, which, as I'm sure you know, a very long time ago. I had no idea at that time what pleasures lay ahead with music. I found it, and I still do find it, tuneful and rhythmic. And it started me on a life of enjoying music of all kinds, popular music, jazz, and classical. And when I heard it, there were 2 Ted Heaths at that time. Both of them were conducting musical outfits. I've nothing to say about the other one, who sailed away into obscurity, but this one dominated the British popular music scene with what was generally agreed at that particular time Britain's best post-war big band. His career, very interesting, Ted Heath's career began when he was spotted busking outside London Bridge Station. And from there, he played with many bands. He actually played with Bert Ambrose, Sidney Lipton, Maurice Winnick, and Geraldo. So he really did the rounds until he became his own band leader. He had 3 singers in those days: Lita Rosa, Dennis Lotis, and Dickie Valentine. They all became well known working with the band, and it's Lita Rosa who is singing this song.
Down in old Kentucky, where horseshoes are lucky, there's a village smithy standing under the chestnut tree. Hear the hammer knocking, see the anvil rocking. He sings the boogie blues while he's hammering on the shoes. See the hot sparks are flying like 4th of July. He's even got the horses popping pop down the avenue. Folks love the rhythm, the clang bang rhythm. You get a lot of kicks out of the blacksmith blues. Down in old Kentucky, where horseshoes are lucky, there's a village smithy standing under the chestnut tree. Hear the hammer knocking, see the anvil rocking. He sings the boogie blues while he's hammering on the shoes. See the hot sparks are flying like 4th of July. He's even got the horses popping pop down the avenue. Folks love the rhythm, the clang banging rhythm. You get a lot of kicks out of the blacksmith blues.
There we are. So moving on to number 3, it's over to Alan Florsheim. Are you there, Alan?
He was.
Has he unmuted himself?
I can't see him at the minute. Oh, here he is. Yeah. Okay. Just a minute.
Again, Alan? Are you going to tell us your, I know it's a short introduction.
Yes, yes, I know.
Can we hear it?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can't see you.
Yes, here. Yes. Anyway,
We can't hear you.
Here. Anyway, this song was popular when I was at college. This was difficult for me as
Right.
it was hard to make friends. But this song helped me to get through these problems. That was it. Yes. Yes. Can you hear
Okay,
me? Yes. Can you play it now?
we'll play it now, yes, and then I'd like to say a bit more about it afterwards. And
Yes.
I do suggest people listen very carefully because it really has very, very high standing. And here it is. It's a picture of him there.
There's a lady who's sure all that glitters is gold, and she's buying the stairway to heaven. When she gets there, she knows if the stores are all closed, with a word she can get what she can. And she's buying the stairway. There's a sign on the wall, but she wants to be sure, 'cause you know sometimes words have meaning. In a tree by the brook, there's a songbird who sings. Sometimes all of our thoughts are misgiven. Makes me wonder. Makes me wonder. There's a feeling I get when I look to the west, and my spirit is crying for leaving. In my thoughts I have seen rings of smoke through the trees, and the voices of those who stand alone. It makes me wonder. Really makes me wonder. And it's whispered that soon, if we all call the tune, then the piper will lead us to reason. And a new day will dawn for those who stand long, and the forests will echo with laughter. sprinkly for the May Queen. Yes, there are two paths you can go back, but in the long run, and there's still time to change the road you're on. And it makes me wonder, your head is humming and it won't go. In case you don't know, the piper's calling you to join him. Dear lady, can you hear the wind blow? And did you know your stairway lies on the whispering wind? She's buying the stairway to heaven.
There we are. Just to add a little about it, actually, it was released in 1971, that song, composed by the band's guitarist Jimmy Page and the vocalist, who was Robert Plant. It's often regarded, apparently, as the most popular rock song of all time, and the guitar solo, which we heard at the end, as one of the greatest. And Led Zeppelin have certainly the best-selling albums in history, and they were one of the best-selling music artists of all time. There's been talk of them getting together again a number of times, but sadly the drummer died when he was age 32. And on one of the recent times when they were talking of getting together, it was possibly with his son. Anyhow, we now move on to number 4 and to Josie. If you'd like to unmute yourself, Josie, and tell us about your choice.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Our son Mendel is now in his 40s. He struggled as a young child, both academically and socially. And at the age of 10, we discovered he was dyslexic and dyspraxic. After much soul searching, we sent him to a Jewish special needs school in Cheshire called Delamere Forest. And we slept down there some Sundays, And then it was a 5-hour car journey each way. Sometimes stayed at a local B&B overnight. He was there from the ages of 11 to 17. He came home yonters. We spoke on the phone several times a week, no computers then. And when I heard this song, it always made me think of him. He came to GB in February for a Simca just before lockdown, as he now lives in Israel with his wife and children. As we haven't seen him in the flesh since last Hanukkah, once again this tune strikes a chord in my heart.
Thank you very much. Here it is.
Sorry? No, I missed it. Sorry about it too much.
No New Year's Day to celebrate. No chocolate cups, candy hearts to give away. No first of spring, no song to sing. In fact, here's just another ordinary day. No April rain, no flowers bloom, no wedding Saturday within the month of June. But what it is something true, made up of these 3 words that I must say to you. I just want to say I love you. I just call to say how much I care. I just called to say I love you, and I mean it from the bottom of my heart. No summer's high, no warm July, no harvest moon to light one tender August night. No autumn breeze, no falling leaves, not even time for birds to fly to southern sky. No Libra sun, no Halloween, no giving thanks to all the Christmas joy you bring. But what it is, so oh, so new, to fill your heart like no 3 words could ever do. I just called to say I love you. I just called to say how much I care. I do. I just called to say I love you, and I mean it from the bottom of my heart. I just called to say I love you. I just called to say how much I care. I do. I just called to say I love you, and I mean it from the bottom of my heart. Oh, my heart. Oh, really, my heart.
thank you, Josie. Actually, that song was released in 1984, and it was Stevie Wonder's best-selling single. It topped 19 charts. It won an Academy Award for Best Music, a Golden Globe Award for the Best Original Song. And Stevie Wonder is a virtual one-man band, and his use of synthesizers and other electronic musical instruments during the 1970s reshaped the conventions of rhythm and blues. So we move on now to number 5, Pamela. Pamela Gold, are you with us?
Hello.
Hello,
Yes.
right, we can hear you.
Yes. Okay. I
Right.
chose this because 42, can you all hear me? Yeah.
Yes, yes,
Okay.
we can. Yeah.
42 years ago, we were on holiday in a place called Caruwea, which was very small fishing village outside Torremolinos. There was the usual man came round with selling roses, which we ignored. Then another man came round with a guitar, and we'd had quite a bit to drink. And I must admit, I was showing off because I could say it. So I said, please, will you play Concerto de Aranjuez by Rodriguez? So he said yes, which surprised me. He then sat down by my side and he played the entire thing all the way through, absolutely perfectly. And it was the biggest surprise of all our lives. It was just wonderful. It was like having my own concert performance in a little cafe by the side of the sea.
That's fantastic. I think it's a bit long to hear all of it. I'm just going to try
Yes.
and adjust it to a bit
Yes.
where I think it's appropriate for us to listen to, and that is here. Hope it brings back happy memories. There we are. I don't know if you know, Pamela, but Rodrigo, who wrote it, actually was the first Marquis of the Gardens of Aranjuez. He wrote it in 1939, his best known work, and the success of that established him as one of the most significant Spanish composers of the 20th century. And that concerto is a cornerstone of the classical guitar repertoire. Apparently, he was also a virtuoso pianist. Moving on now to Joy, number 6. Joy, over to you.
Hello, everybody. My song is Ferry Across the Mersey by Jerry and the Pacemakers. It reminds me of the time I used to work for NEMS Enterprises in Liverpool. You may not know, but I'm a Northern girl. And this was before Brian Epstein died in 1967. I worked at the Music Echo, a music magazine run by the Epsteins, as a cub reporter secretary. The offices were in Matthew Street, just opposite the Cavern, and we often used to go at lunchtime to listen to up-and-coming new groups, including Jerry and the Pacemakers, Cilla Black, the Mersey Beats, and a number of others. The Cavern was exactly like its name, underground, low-ceilinged, and when crowded, as it usually was, the walls would run with moisture. Ugh. At the age of 18, I felt as if I was at the centre of the universe. Unfortunately, I never got to meet the Beatles, but I did speak to Ringo on the phone once. Cilla came into the office a couple of times. She was very normal and friendly and sat around eating sandwiches with us. I left in 1966 to move to London and join the world of advertising, but I have very fond memories of those times.
Thank you very much. And here's one of them.
Life goes on day after day. Hearts torn in every way. So ferry cross the Mersey, 'cause this land's the place I love, and here I'll stay. People, they rush everywhere, each with their own secret care. So ferry cross the Mersey and always take me there, the place I love. People around every corner seem to smile and say, we don't care what your name is, boy, we'll never turn you away. So I'll continue to say, here I always will stay. So ferry cross the Mersey, 'cause this land's the place I love, and here I'll stay. And here I'll stay. Here I'll stay.
There we are. As I think perhaps you mentioned, they were managed by Brian Epstein, and their first 3 records were all bestsellers. That was one, and I Like It, and You'll Never Walk Alone. All of them were bestsellers. Moving on now to number 7, and I think Marilyn. I know Marilyn's there because I saw her before. Are you with us now, Marilyn? Unmute yourself, please.
Can you hear?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yep.
Hello, everybody. This sort of sets the scene of my memory. My twin sister and I were born on the 10th of May, 1940, ultimately known as a historic day when Churchill became Prime Minister and Holland and Belgium were invaded. As bombs began to fall in London, we were evacuated as babies in carry cots to many, many places. My earliest memories, aged about 2.5, were in Blackpool, where we joined our father, a doctor stationed with the RAF. I can't remember exactly which house or exactly my age at the time, but my memory is of being carried round a room, my head on my father's shoulder, while he sang to me, my curly-headed baby. Maybe not quite as deeply as Paul Robeson, but the resonance of his voice in my ear is what I'll always remember and cherish.
Thank you very much. And here is a version of it.
Oh, my baby, my curly-headed baby, we'll sit below the sky and sing a song to the moon. Oh, my baby, my little darky baby, your daddy's in the cotton field working for the coon. So la bye bye. Does you want the moon to play with, or the stars to run away with? They'll come if you cry. So la bye bye. In the mammy's arms be creeping, and soon you'll be asleeping. Oh, my baby, my curly-headed baby, I'll dance you fast asleep and love you so as I see. Oh, my baby, my little darky baby, just tuck your head like little bird below its mammy's wing. So long, bye bye. Does you want the moon to play with, or the stars to run away with? They'll come if you don't cry. So long, bye bye. In the mammy's arms be creeping, and soon you'll be asleeping.
There we are. It was first recorded in 1942, actually, by Maxine Sullivan. Robeson recorded it in 1948. And if any of you don't know, he was an American bass baritone concert artist, also stage and film actor, became very famous for his cultural accomplishments and his political activism, which involved supporting, in those days, this is going back a long time, he supported the Black movement, but he was also sympathetic to Russia and to communism. Apparently, when he was young, he was a star athlete, and there was a little local thing. Yeah. In 1934, he came over to London and he studied at SOAS. So now, Stuart, it's your turn, number 8.
Okay, thank you, Brian. I suppose I could have chosen any one of a number of songs from this particular artist, but I have chosen Neil Diamond singing Stargazer, and I will explain why. In July 1977, Helen and I, with a couple of our friends, Beverly and Tony, who are on this call today, and been friendly with them for over 50 years, so nice to have you on board. We went to see Neil Diamond in concert at Woburn Abbey. We got there late on a lovely summer's afternoon, parked the car, and seemed to walk for ages where the concert was being held, outside the back of the house at Woburn Abbey. And if ever any of you have been there to concerts, the concert itself is held at the back of the house, and there's two banks that are steep away from the house, and that's where you sit getting a wonderful view of what's going on. A great Neil Diamond concert that everyone sang along to, and as darkness fell, he sang Stargazer, and we all waved lights which we had been given. It was absolute magic. When the concert was finished, however, it was dark, and that's when the trouble started. It was almost impossible to retrace your footprints back to where our cars had been left. There's been parked in different areas of nearby fields, and there was no lighting at all to find our way. And it was absolutely pitch dark. People were just wandering about all over the place, hoping they would eventually come across their cars. And you didn't have the key fobs like you've got today, where you might be able to flick your indicators and even find your car that way. I vaguely remembered where I'd left my car, and we found it after looking for about an hour or so. We got home much later than planned, and our babysitter was most annoyed with us, getting home way past the time we had told her when we had left home that evening. Even when we had found the car, it took us ages to get away from the car park due to the sheer number of people who were at the concert. There were no mobile phones in those days, so we couldn't have let her know that we would be delayed and how late we were going to be. And I ended up having to pay her another 5 shillings on top of I'd already agreed to pay her. A huge sum of money, bearing in mind I think we were paying 4 shillings or 4 and 6 an hour for babysitters in those days. How times have changed.
Yeah.
Nevertheless, a magical evening at the Neil Diamond concert, never to be forgotten. Over to you, Brian.
Thank you. And back to the shillings. Here we are.
Stargazer, you with your head in the heavens, you'll never get by walking that high off the ground. Dead moon dreamer, driving around and I've seen it. The higher you get, the harder they let you down. You pay your dues, it seems forever. And if you're clever, you may be in for a while, then you're out of style. Hey, stargazer, probably think I'm crazy, and you haven't heard one single word I've said. And I don't want to burst your bubble, but you got trouble. Don't you know the higher the top, the longer the drop? Hey, stargazer. All right. Play that thing, no, I don't want to burst your bubble, but you got trouble. Don't you know the higher the top, the longer the drop? Hey, stargazer,
I don't know if you heard, that was from an LP actually, and I wonder if you heard the other two hits on the LP, Beautiful Noise and Sweet Caroline, if they were in the same concert. Anyhow, moving on now to number 9 and to Linda, if we can hear from you, if you unmute yourself and tell us about your choice.
Hi, Brian. Can you hear
Hi.
me?
Yes, yes.
Okay. My song is The Wind Beneath My Wings, which my husband and I just love. For our Ruby wedding many years ago, my daughter made us a really fabulous dinner with all the family. My son-in-law, who knew it was our favourite song, put it on and we all got up and danced to it. It was a wonderful moment just watching everybody dancing and my beloved late mother dancing with my son. It was one of our happiest moments ever. There was so much love in the room that day. My favourite version is by Bette Midler, and I really hope you all enjoy it.
Thank you, and that is the version. Here it is.
It must have been cold there in my shadow to never have sunlight on your face. You were content to let me shine, that's your way. You always walk a step behind. So I was the one with all the glory, while you were the one with all the strength. A beautiful face without a name for so long. A beautiful smile to hide the pain. Did you ever know that you're my hero? And everything I would like to be. I can fly higher than an eagle. You are the wind beneath my wings. It might have appeared to go unnoticed, but I've got it all here in my heart. I want you to know I know the truth. Of course I know I would be nothing without you. Did you ever know that you're my hero? You're everything I wish I could be. I would fly higher than an eagle. For you are the wind beneath my wings. Did I ever tell you you're my hero? You're everything, everything I wish I could be. Oh, and I can fly higher than an eagle. You are the wind beneath my wings. 'Cause you are the wind beneath my wings. Oh, wind beneath my wings. You are the wind beneath my wings.
my
Thank you very much for that, Linda. I understand it was a soundtrack of a film called Beaches. Apparently, so I've been told, it was a real weepy, released in 1988 and won the Grammy Award for Record of the Year. As you say, sung by Bette Midler. And she used to work with Barry Manilow in the early days in gay clubs in New York. And it remains her biggest hit ever. Went to #1 on the billboards and achieved platinum status. So I hope you enjoyed hearing it again. And now moving on to something which hopefully will take us back to the sunny days of the summer. Sue, can we move over to you?
Lovely, thank you. Right, am I pressing share screen or?
You are in, yes.
I'm in.
I
Okay.
can see you. Yeah.
Oh, I
Yeah.
can see you. Okay, hello everyone. So many songs we all love and so many lovely memories. And Brian, you've done such extensive research into everybody's choices. I'm very impressed.
Wow.
How to choose? Well, like Joy, I'm a northern girl, but I've spent most of my life in London. We moved around a lot in my childhood, and we moved to Golders Green for a few years when I was 9 years old. And there I got to know my marvellous aunts and great aunts and grandmother, who'd all been born in the East End, but had migrated to Golders Green and Hendon. And we lived opposite Golders Hill Park. So at the age of 9 or 10, I walked down Golders Green Road to Gloucester Gardens, where I got to know my lovely great aunt. She was especially welcoming to me. I had a special ring. I'd ring 3 times on a doorbell, and she'd always welcome me with plates of chocolate Bourbon biscuits. And she played Chopin on the piano and introduced me to beautiful works of art and painting and culture, and opened an amazing world to me. One of the pieces she used to play was La Mer by Charles Trenet. And this piece of music reminds me of a very special time and wonderful lady who influenced me so greatly in my childhood, and would love to be here with us all at Sage today.
Lovely. Here it is.
La mer qu'on voit danser le long des golfes clairs a des reflets d'argent. La mer, des reflets changeants sous la pluie. La mer au ciel d'été confond ses blancs moutons avec les anges si purs. La mer, bergère d'azur infinie. Voyez, près des étangs, ces grands roseaux mouillés. Voyez, ces oiseaux blancs et ces maisons rouillées. La mer les a bercés le long des golfes clairs et d'une chanson d'amour. La mer a bercé mon cœur pour la vie. La mer qu'on voit danser le long des golfes clairs a des reflets d'argent. La mer, des reflets changeants sous la pluie. La mer au ciel d'été confond ses blancs moutons avec les anges si purs. La mer, bergère d'azur infinie. Voyez, près les étangs, ces grands roseaux mouillés. Voyez ces oiseaux blancs et ces maisonniers. La mer, les a bercés le long des golfes clairs. Et une chanson d'amour là-bas a bercé mon cœur pour la vie.
There we are, so French and so sunny, actually, I think. Charles Trenet, his version was released in 1946, and it was an unexpected hit, has remained a chanson classic since then, and a jazz standard as well. He said he wrote the initial version of the song as a poem when he was 16 years old. And many years later, he decided to come up with a tune for it. It's his best known song and has been recorded by over 400 different artists. So there we are. Thank you for the choice. Thank everybody for your choices today. I hope that they've been enjoyed, and certainly hope that we'll get some other very interesting choices for number 3, CD number 3. And over back to Stuart.
Brian, can't thank you enough. What a lovely afternoon. What wonderful memories. I think there's memories in there, you know, on some of the regular tunes that we can all think of in our time when we were younger, whatever. But some wonderful things that he reminds us of as you go through as well. Even starting at the first one with Dream Lover, you refer to Charlie Drake, remember him well. Your own tune mentioning Dickie Valentine and Lisa Rosa. Lisa Rose, I don't suppose our grandchildren would know much about them at all. I'm very touched, Josie, with your tune. I just called to say I love you. Lovely memories for you. Marilyn with Curly-Headed Baby. Linda with Wind Beneath My Wings. If any of you haven't seen
Beaches,
it is a real weepy. And if you've got time, switch on to it. You'll enjoy it. It's really good. And lovely to end up, Sue, with La Mer. Lovely memories, really, you know, for all of us, and what a wonderful afternoon. So come on, you lot. We've had 90 people sitting in on this session today. If you haven't yet given us your tune and your reasons for doing so, I hope this afternoon has inspired you to do that. So I'm going to remind you, as yet again, the email address for letting us know, bushysage@gmail.com. Don't leave it. Do it as soon as you switch off this afternoon. Let's work towards, if Brian doesn't mind, perhaps having these once a month. It really is a lovely afternoon. Very interesting.
Yeah.
Is that all right with you, Brian, once a month?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Great. So the same fee as always. Okay. Again, thank you, Brian. Can't thank you enough for that. It really does make the afternoon. Next week, next Tuesday, same time, same place, we have Nicole Rothband back with us. Nicole has spoken to us a couple of times. Nicole is a registered dietitian, and she's going to be talking about top tips to lighten our food and adapt to a more controlled eating habit, should you so desire. Okay, thank you for joining us this afternoon. If you want to stay and chat, please feel free to do so. Have a good rest of the week. Keep well, keep safe, keep washing your hands, whatever you need to do. Look after yourselves. Thanks.